Hello one and all, and welcome back to Final Drive Sim Racing, and here we are at round 2, and we have two amazing sprint races for you this evening. It's sprint race coverage, which is always exciting for the drivers, exciting for the spectators, exciting for the commentators. Round 2, as you can see there, at Spa-Francorchamps, one of my favourite circuits on earth. And this is the, that's supposed to say, not endurance race format, it's supposed to say sprint race format, but 2 races, 40 minutes and 20 minutes, a 15-minute quali. The top 3 from race 1 start at the back for race 2, and the second qualifying session is just a 5-minute quali shootout. Commentary team, as always, Mike Bull and myself on comms. Luke Dugdale, who's usually on interviews, but not at the moment due to work commitments, and Aaron Markham with our analysis as usual. So welcome, gentlemen, back to Final Drive Sim Racing. Round 2, so races 2 and 3 for round 2, 2 sprint races, and exciting to be back. Yeah, give us your thoughts. Dougie, kick us off. How are you feeling ahead of watching these guys batter around Spa this evening?
I'm excited. I think with because 2 sprint races, I prefer 2 sprint races. I think it provides a bit more action, and it stops sometimes in the endurance races. You get a few dry spots, so I think it makes it a bit more entertaining. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, different challenge this week, Aaron. We had a wet, where were we last week? A wet Monza, sorry. I kept saying Imola last week, didn't I? We had a wet Monza last week, and this we've got a very hot, dry Spa-Francorchamps this week. So different track, very different challenge for the drivers as well.
Yeah, it couldn't be any more further from last week, could it? We're in baking hot sunshine, not a cloud in the sky, red hot conditions. Totally different type of challenge. Be interesting to see how the time of day affects the tyres. You know, we were discussing that these guys are going to struggle tonight with temperatures being through the roof. So, yeah, be interesting to see how it unfolds.
Yeah, it will. And you know, one of the biggest difficulties here is the track is so long. So you think you know when you're doing your outlap for quali, you know, it takes you 3 minutes to get around to do your outlap. So if you make a mistake, you've lost not 1 lap, you've lost 5 minutes of a 10-minute qualifying session through one mistake, really, because you've lost that lap and the outlap and so on and so on. So a very different challenge for the drivers this week. So these guys just getting ready for quali. So while that's happening, I had the opportunity earlier today to just do a bit of a track guide for you to show you guys what it's like to drive Spa-Francorchamps. So we'll just take a look at that while we're waiting for the guys to get up to speed for quali. So here is my version of Spa-Francorchamps. Hi guys, and welcome to Final Drive Sim Racing. This is our first track guide that we're going to do for you, give you a little bit of a flavour of what the driver is going to be going through in these 2 sprint races that we have for you around Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium this evening. So let's get right to it. And I'm driving the NSX, as you can see.
Give it all you got.
And we're in hot lap mode, which means the track will be in best condition. You start at the back of the circuit, you haven't got to do a full out lap, which does, of course, around Spa-Francorchamps take around 16 to 17 weeks to complete. So on the power, down the start-finish straight. Across the start-finish line back there. So the change of colour on the grass there on the left, that's your braking point for turn 1. Round there, back on the power as quick as you can, and through the gears down the second part of the start-finish straight, which they sometimes use in different categories. And then you've got Eau Rouge, a little lift of throttle, and back on it, not to lose too much speed. You don't want to scrub off too much through that section, and through Radion, and this long straight to 6. The tarmac darkens here with all the rubber, but it's that rumble strip on the left you want to use as your braking zone for that down to second gear. Nice and smooth through this section, as too much throttle will lead to you spinning the car. Back on the power, third, fourth, Heavy braking zone again, down to second. This right-hander hairpin does seem to take about 5 years to finish, but you're back on the power as soon as you can be. Down to third.
Your lap time is invalidated.
I just carried a little bit too much speed through there, as you can see, but we won't worry about that right now. Down to third again. Wait for the car to bite, then back on the power. Fourth. Fifth. Back on hard on the brakes. Another braking zone, down to second. Dab a throttle and then back off again. Just patient as you can be with the throttle through that tight section. Then heavy on the brakes again. Hit the apex, back on the power. And this is a tricky one because you've got to carry as much speed as you can through that corner, because this section is all throttle. You won't touch the brakes again now until you get down to the bus stop chicane. So you want to go as wide as you can through this part without cutting track limits. Up to 6. Lost a little bit of momentum there. Hard on the brakes. Down to first. Through the bus stop and up to the start finish straight. So not a particularly quick lap, and I'm far from the most skilled driver on ACC, but and you could see the mistakes for yourself, but just an idea there of what the drivers are going to be experiencing this evening, and hope you found that useful and entertaining, and thank you for watching that, and back to the live action. Hi guys. So there we go, and hope you guys found that useful and entertaining, and yeah, a tricky technical circuit this one, isn't it, Aaron? And you know, I mean, I know we sort of alluded to it, but a completely different prospect to what we saw last week at where were we? Monza. I'll get it right eventually.
Yeah, it's just one of those tracks where you've got almost every single type of corner rolled into one. I mean, we all know how long the Nordschleife is, but this is probably as close as you can get to a mini one. You've got slow chicanes, you've got, you know, the Kemmel straight, you've got your mid speeds, you've got double apexes like turn 9 and turn 10. It's just, there's just such a mixture of everything. Different cars are going to be stronger in other areas. Yeah, just really technically challenging, even though it might not be as huge as the Nordschleife or the Nürburgring. It still poses a similar sort of challenge in how sort of unique the balance and mixture of corners are around here.
Yeah, it certainly does, and just taking a look at the calendar on screen while you were talking us through that, and as you can see, Spa this week, and Kyalami comes next week. So we're just waiting for the drivers to set their first few laps. Mefferson is top at the moment with a 19.992, first into the 19s in the Honda. He had a great opening session. His amateur status is under review, as he does appear to have a lot more pace than what his qualifying lap for Pro/Am showed. So it looks like he may well be bumped up to the Am. From the Am, sorry, to the Pro in the coming races if he continues this great form. But that'll be good for him to challenge himself against some of the best drivers in this league. But Hertz, after a fantastic victory last week, still leading the championship after the first round. But plenty of cool racing to come yet, and time for those to change. And a quick look at the team's table there as well, with Reed and Mefferson top on 66 points at the moment from Ingle and Weavers. So we are heading into quali, and Galanos is currently your lead driver, Foto Galanos, in the 979 Honda NSX with a 119, that'd be a hell of a lap, a 219.1. Which is quite the lap time. So we're keeping an eye, a lot of these guys, couple of guys now, as you can see, in the 19s, which is quite the lap around here. I have been told that some of these guys managed to dip into the 17s in practice while doing qualifying simulations. So it'll be interesting to see if anybody can go that fast, but the conditions out there look like they're lending themselves to a mid-18 probably at best. So we're halfway through the qualifying session now, 7.5 minutes gone, and we are heading towards the halfway stage, as I say, of qualifying, as these guys try to set their fastest lap time, and very close between the top 6 really, all on the pace. So looking like it's going to be a close one, Dougie, I think, between those top 6. It'd be interesting to see whether their quali pace relates also to race pace a bit later on.
Definitely, and we'll be able to see some true racecraft today. As we know, sprint races are very intense. It's fight your way through the field and try and score as many points as you can while you've got the chance, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've talked about, you know, as I say, that Galanos does get into the mid-18s. I was predicting that was roughly where these guys were going to get to, and that looks like about as good as it's going to get from him. But he's 1.1 seconds ahead of second place at the moment, so a lot of work for those guys to do to get anywhere near that lap time. But yeah, we talked about the the differences between sprints and endurance before, and the way they approach a race. But yeah, I was speaking to a couple of the drivers before the race, and we were talking about the fact that Spa's an unusual venue to have a sprint setup at, because of the length of the track, and you alluded to that earlier, Aaron, in terms of, you know, it being one of the longest circuits on any calendar really. So a different challenge to have a sprint setup around such a long circuit, because as I said in the pre-show, you know, one mistake and you lose 5 minutes really, because your outlap is 3 minutes.
Yeah, it kind of you kind of play against yourself mentally, don't you, with that one? You know, you're trying not to. I mean, the guys never try and make an error, but an error is just so critical tonight. And you know, if you haven't got the setup sorted before you're coming into the lobby, it's going to be a long evening, unless you're godlike with your driving ability, because it just takes so long to, like you alluded to get out there, to try something, to come back in, to get back out. It's just not a nice sort of venue to be trialing things out. You need to come here and really know what you're going to do.
Yeah, practice will have been key for these guys, I guess, and you know, that is going to be evident, I think, in the race, of particularly with the track, which will be as hot as can possibly be. Not at the moment, because quali is taking place at 6 a.m, but particularly for quali 2 and race 2, the heat will really play a part for track temperature, and we'll know who's done the practice and got their setup and their strategy right. I guess we'll find that out pretty shortly. So let's just have a quick run through the field while we're watching them go round. So Fotogalanos is currently leading by 0.045 seconds. He's in the Honda, and he's leading Amundsen in the McLaren by that amount. And then it's a big gap then, 1.2 seconds back to Bart Tonks, who's in the pits, but great to see Bart right back at the front and being competitive. And of course, one of the important things to remember, which I'm sure we'll mention a few times tonight, is the top 3 finishers in race 1 cannot qualify for race 2, so they will start at the back. So that will mix the grid up for race 2 as well, so we've got that to look forward to. But there's clearly going to be a couple of drivers going to be favourites to be in that top 3 at the end of race 1. Dominic Engel back in the Lexus, and currently 1.2 seconds off the pace. But all these drivers I'm about to mention are all within half a second of each other, from Bart Tonks, Dominic Engel, Ash Humphreys in the number 44 McLaren for AH came in, and well, I've got to say the beautifully liveried Gulf McLaren. It wouldn't be a stream if I didn't at least comment on it. Wes Birkhouse in the Audi this season finished second in the endurance race last week, and I suspect will be hoping for a similar result this evening. So he's currently 6th. Mefferson in the second Honda is currently in 7th, 1.4 seconds off the pace, but showing really good pace. Both him and especially Galanos in a car that is quite difficult to drive. As you saw from the track guide, it is my car of choice. And please don't read too much into my 2:22 lap time, because I have barely drive on ACC anymore. But good to see the Honda is working with the new configuration setup the ACC have put into place. Last week's race winner, Aidan Hurkt, is currently in 8th position in the number 95 Lexus, and doesn't appear to quite have the advantage that he had in the rain. Maybe it was the rain that gave him that advantage. I'm not quite sure. Sorry, somebody's just... Adam Foster's just finally put in a lap that he will be happy with, and he's in the late 2:19, sorry, and he's up into 6th place. So we've got Lloyd Reed, who is in 11th. He had a decent race last week, and 2 races this week to look forward to, and consistency will definitely be key around here. You've got Christian Scharf, a new driver for us this week, and he's a brave man. He's in the Aston Martin, and he's not exactly within the white lines of the track there, but he's got just enough time to get to the finish line and have another go at it. We've got Fairweather. He was with us last week, didn't have the best of rounds, I think it's fair to say, and I think retired after about 10-15 laps, but good to see he's back and having another go. And 2 sprint races, a chance for him to find his feet in this league and hopefully have a couple of good finishing positions. One of the old stalwarts in Damien Humphreys, currently in 14th place in the Lexus, and he doesn't really concentrate too much on quali. He tends to go for the races as his opportunity to make up time and places and get points. Johnsy, he's Welsh! Hey! I noticed the Welsh flag in the bottom right hand corner. I'm a fellow Welshman, not that you can tell from my droney annoying Welsh accent, but absolutely great to see Kane Johnsy on the grid in the McLaren, my second favourite car, and he's Welsh, so welcome. Davies made his debut in the Ferrari last week and finished very well. I believe he finished the top 8, I want to say off the top of my head. I can't remember exactly where. In fact, I can probably tell you if we have a quick look at the table. Where did he finish? He finished 8th. There we are. That was a good guess, wasn't it? And yeah, great debut from him, and he and his teammate and Shaw looking forward to more top 10 finishes and a good standing then for the team's championship. Morris is in 18th at the moment in the McLaren, and Rich Arnold currently down in 18th and is not quite getting to grips. So they got a lovely livery on that Ferrari, I will say, the 2 Rad drivers, but Rich, he's a pro driver, but he's not quite finding his feet at the moment. So maybe another who might be under review for being put into the correct championship. Lanzarote coming back this week. He had an eventful race last week, but he's back and probably hoping for a less chaotic time. Weavers, he's in the pits, and it's just not long left now for these drivers, and he's in 20th. Balseely down in 21st. That's a surprise. Maybe Spa, just not Scott's track, but he's definitely quicker than that generally, and had a great race last week. Stevens in 22nd with the opposing livery to Adam Foster in the other Porsche. Prescott, he's back snail racing. Look at that beautiful smiling snail on the side of that car. He's a Tottenham Hotspur fan as well. They got plenty to celebrate. Champions League football coming next season. And again, he's gone for the bright colours to keep us entertained, Mr. Prescott, and welcome back. Simpson in 24th in the Audi. Green in 25th. New driver, joined us for the first time last week. Shepherd 26th, and Tasker in 27th. Now I think that is it. Is anybody actually on a lap? Mefferson is on a lap. He's the only guy on a lap. He's not improving on his time right now, but he must be really hoping he can bust through the bus stop chicane as fast as humanly possible. But he only needs a 10th and he'll make up 3 positions, but it doesn't look like that is going to happen. In fact, he's losing time. Yeah, not going to happen for Mefson, and he will stay in 10th position. So there we are, gentlemen. That is your running order for race 1. And any surprises there, Dougie, based on some of the form we've seen from drivers in previous races?
I wouldn't say necessarily a surprise, but it's good to see Galganos back where he usually is.
Yeah, missed
He's in
week 1
fourth.
for work reasons. So.
Okay. That's why I didn't notice him for last race. Humphrey's in 5th. That's a good. I'm sure he'll be happy with that. Tonks in 6th. Yeah, it's not necessarily surprises, but it's good to see at some form he's coming back to some people you'd expect to see in the top 10.
Anybody out of position, would you say, Aaron? Who, you're thinking, perhaps we can keep an eye on him. I can see him coming through the field, sort of situation.
Yeah, actually, probably a little bit surprised at Mefferson. With his pace from last week, being on pole, down in 10th.
Yeah, and especially when you compare him to Galanos in the other Honda, this on pole.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we know the Honda never used to be the quickest of cars on this game, but seems to be working quite nice. And I'm sure Adam Foster will probably make a few moves as well, being 7th. It doesn't. We're not used to seeing him down that far last season, so let's see what he does tonight as well.
Yeah, for me, Scott Balsilie's in 21st. That's a big surprise. I mean, he's normally a top 5 driver, so perhaps Spa, as I said a moment ago, just isn't his track. I caught up with Adam Foster before the race, so let's just have a quick listen in to what he had to say and his insight into this race at Spa this week. So, pre-race interviews. Once again, we are preparing for Spa-Francorchamps. We are preparing for 2 sprint races after last week's endurance race, and I'm delighted to be joined once again by Season 1 champion Adam Foster. Cheers for joining me for this interview, Adam. So, first question from me is, what are your aspirations for this race after not the kind of form we're used to from you last week?
No, thanks for having me again. No, Monza, as we spoke about, is not great for the Porsche straight line, and the weather didn't really help me that much. But I finished 6th, which was okay for me. Here today at Spa, I'm hoping for roughly around the same sort of pace. I'm close to Wes, which is a good sign. I want to finish 4th or 5th for the first race, because the top 3 then don't qualify for the second race, which might give me a chance to get a podium for the second race. But again, Porsche's straight line speed's a bit of a struggle here. Sector 2 is amazing. Very, very quick.
And that's probably the kind of the area where you can make up the most time, really, isn't it? I mean, you can lose a lot of time on the straights, of course, and especially, if you exit from Eau Rouge, and you can lose a lot of time down the straight, of course. But sector 2, if you can get it right, you can make up a lot of time in that sector and make that time back.
Wes just now, he was behind me, and the straight line speed of every other car is I'll just get flown by. So yeah, sector 2 is where I'm going to really push it. I can brake later than most cars, which is going to be a bit tricky if I am behind someone. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. It's a good track. Sprint races as well, which is different. So it's all out pushing. And yeah, very high temperatures.
So you spoke a little bit there about not so much the tactical game, but aiming to finish, just outside the top 3. So you've got a chance of being obviously towards the front end for the second race, because as we've mentioned, the top 3 don't qualify for race 2 and they start at the back. So do you purposely play a tactic in mind with that? If a podium was there for race 1, would you drop back just to finish 4th, if you see what I'm trying to say, or would you still go for the points that are on the table?
No, I get what you say. If I'm 3rd, I'm taking that 3rd. I'm not dropping that for nothing. If I get a 3rd here in the first race with everyone else in it, I'll be shocked, to be honest. My pace is about 5th, 6th, right, with all the top runners in. With the top 3 out for race 2 and starting at the back, I might be able to push my way up to the 3rd place, maybe 2nd. I'm not looking at a win here, But like, yeah, I will push as hard as I can to try and get a podium in all of the races.
Awesome. Well, cheers for joining me, mate. I really appreciate it, and it's nice to get an insight from you. And I'll no doubt speak to you after the race. And good luck tonight.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Cheers, pal. So interesting to obviously always to get the insight of Adam for the race, but yeah, he's an intelligent driver, I would say. Do you think, Aaron? He's aware of the limitations of his car, and you know, planning ahead really of where he can make up for its limitations in the race by concentrating on sort of sector 2, which is the more technical sector.
Yeah, he's no fool, he's no slouch, you know, last season's champion, we know what he's made of, and he knows what car he's picked, he knows where it's strong, so yeah, he'll be looking to maximise that Sector 2 performance from the Porsche, and like you said as well, he's much better on the brakes than some of these guys, so we might see some slightly unorthodox moves, you know, prime example coming out of here, turn 9 and 10, before starting Sector 3, we could see some bold moves into the chicane.
Yeah, interesting to you, Dougie, you know, talking a little bit about the old tactics there in terms of, you know, do you risk finishing top 3 and starting from the back for the next one, or, you know, do you purposely finish 4th if you're in that position and, you know, give the podium away? And he's like, no, you ain't getting me off the podium. If the podium's available, I'm going for it, sort of situation. So I suppose you can't take for granted that you're going to have a good race too just because you finished outside the top 3, if you get me.
Yeah, it's one of them. He's got the mindset of, if it's there, I'm going to take it. He's not going to, as you said, risk having a bad race too and then dropping even more points when he needs to. So he's one of them. He's just going to maximise the points and see what he can do, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the right thing to do. I think you know, in our league, Simon Ashbourne said something very similar, didn't he? In terms of, you don't know what's going to happen. Somebody could clean you out. You could bust a tyre, or you know, anything could happen. So why take a risk and lose points that are available when there are no guarantees in the next race? So it makes perfect sense to take what's in front of you. But it's you know, it's interesting that you know, some do consider that the tactical game, I guess. But we are just coming to the
one thing I picked up on. Oh,
sorry, no, go for it, mate.
Just one thing I picked up on also, Adam said he can brake much later than other cars. Do you think if he gets stuck behind other cars, he's gonna be impacted on his lap times because he's gonna have to adjust to the car in front's braking, or I think that sets him up for overtaking?
The issue is he can brake a lot later, but he's losing, you know, 7-8 tenths on the straights, so he's really got to make up time in that middle sector. So I think it's really going to impact his whole strategy, really, having those sort of limitations. Bart Tonks is shown as in the pits. So I don't think he's made the start, which is not good. But these guys just coming to the end of this formation lap now, and around what is the first corner. Strangely enough, at Spa, because of the carnage of the first corner, on a rolling start, you start on the second start finish straight, which is this one here. So we're going up to Helicam now, as I always like to do, and we're waiting for the green light. We've got a 40-minute race coming. The time on the clock there is 7:08 a.m. The track will get hotter and hotter as the minutes roll by. And they are away. It's green lights, foot flat on the floor, and away they go down towards Eau Rouge. What a first corner to take in a race. And absolutely beautifully done by these drivers. No contact, nice and clean all the way through the field. And Amundsen with an absolutely epic start and a much better drive through Eau Rouge. You can see Engel and Hurt all trying to slipstream on Galanos down the straight, who did not have the best of exits out of Eau Rouge. But Amundsen's getting through, and somebody's gone off the track. That was Engel, and he's lost out a few positions for that. Hurt up now into the podium positions, but still under a lot of pressure, and Galanos losing time to Amundsen in front of him. So we're on with Hurt now, who's under loads of pressure from Engel behind. Engel trying to get ahead, and he's run really wide there. You can't afford to do that too many times before you will get pinged for track limits 3 times, and then you've got a drive-through penalty, which is not what any of these drivers want for a sprint race, because that would be game, set and match. But Hurt still holding off Galanos, who's lost a bit now. He's under pressure from Foster, who's managed to make up a place off the start and get himself up into 5th. Sorry, was you going to say something?
No. None of us were.
No, sorry. I thought I heard somebody about to try and say something. Sorry.
It's okay.
No worries. I'm interrupting myself for absolutely no reason. Beekhouse in 6th, and Ash Humphreys has lost a couple of positions, I think, and he's down in 7th. So tricky start for some of these drivers, but pretty clean for the most part, and everybody's still on the track and on the lead lap, which is great to see. Nobody's ended up in the pits, but pretty close. Beekhouse and Foster, you can see the straight line speed of the Audi is greater than the Porsche. They both come out of the same factory pretty much, but very different concepts and ethoses behind the design of the cars. But you can see Foster having a lot more grip through the low speed stuff, and I think that'll be the rear engine setup giving him that bit of extra grip through the bus stop chicane there. Do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, 100%. You know, I thought we were going to see a move on Dominic Ingle for a second off Foster in sector 2, but he just seemed to lose it all as he started to work his way towards that final sector. Yeah, typical rear-engine Porsche boxing.
Oh, there's been a big accident. A big accident. And I can't see... I think it's Herk's had the big accident, and a couple of cars have crashed into him on the way. And yeah, Ingles there. So yeah, Herk had a big accident, and he's going to find himself way down the order. Foster was caught up in that, a couple of other drivers as well. Let's see, where is he? I can't find him. If I jump on board, I'm just going to pop on the replay, pop back 60 seconds to see if we can see what happened to him. So I've gone back a little bit too far, but at least we'll get to see it. So this is going down the second half of the main straight almost, if you like, because turn one's the hairpin and then there's another straight. And let's see what happens up through Eau Rouge. He just loses it mid-corner, and a couple... Oh, Foster so unlucky, and so was Beekhouse, and just absolute carnage. Absolute carnage. And then he stops there. Beekhouse has just stopped at the side of the track. Everybody streams past. Absolutely no chance.
Just as we were saying, anything can happen.
Yeah, it's I mean, you know, you'll hear in an interview with one of the drivers at pre-race, we talked a lot about Eau Rouge, and that was clearly bad times. So anyway, back to the live action, and big shame there that not only that he had an accident, but obviously he's caught out a couple of other drivers as well. But Fairley's had a great start. He's up into 4th, but he's under loads of pressure now from Humphreys in the fellow McLaren, who's right behind him. But Fairley's had a great start, because I think he started outside the top 10 and already up to 4th Dougie. So he's done a great job in his first couple of laps, hasn't he?
Making great progress, working his way through, so you can't complain at that.
No, I mean, I'm sure he'll be happy with it, but what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4 McLarens in the top 6, so that's all good. Doing very well, and Mefferson very close to Reed as well, so these two battles are close to each other. And oh, Galanos is losing places, so Galanos, something's happened there. Oh, and he's done one at Eau Rouge, so again, let's take a look at the replay, pop back and see what happened here. So another Eau Rouge moment. So these drivers, I mean, let's take a look at this one.
I think it just shows how much they're all on the limit.
Absolute carbon copy. Absolute carbon copy. And do you know what? You're right, Aaron. I think it does show how much they're on the limit. I think that is that's very true. But what I would say is, surely you need to dial back 10% for the race. You know, you can't be on the limit for the whole race through Eau Rouge. And you know, you'll hear myself and one of the drivers talk about this when we do the next interview between the next race. But you can't be on the limit through Eau Rouge 15 times in a row for a 40-minute race, surely.
Not unless you're Ayrton Senna levels of godlike. But no, if you want to finish the race, first you have to finish. So, Christ, that was a bit of a Michael Owen line, that wasn't it? Stating the obvious, but
it's a Martin Brundle special, and I got nothing but respect for Martin Brundle. He's a master at his art.
very true. But these guys, you know, you need to finish the race, and it's probably better to just dial it back, turn it down a notch, than to be running P2 like Galanos was, and now look how far down the order he is, 22nd after a mistake.
Just see him Bart Tonks here. He's managed to get up alongside Scott Balseeley, and he's be on the outside for this, but he'll have the inside for the bus stop. Oh, Scott's decided to back out of it and avoid the accident and let him through, which is probably the best decision there. But lovely close racing from those two, and Tonks up to 16th. After qualifying well, but starting from the pit lane. And Prescott with a mistake there through the bus stop, and you can see Galanos and Shaft both starting to have a look at the back there. And
we're going to see him move into La Source. Doesn't look like it. Oh, Galanos gets close to the rear there.
But he's sort of tried the anti-switch back there, which was a bit of a strange one. But these guys are going to be close, and let's see Galanos through Eau Rouge. Last time he went through, he binned it. Is he going to make it through unscathed this time? It looks like he's avoided any damage, which is good. Oh, he's done it again!
Oh, he's round!
And the commentator curses the man. And yeah, I think he must have done something with his setup for this race, because I mean, he qualified on pole,
like
and
he's
taking
taken He looks like he's taken a really aggressive line through Eau Rouge, so much curved to the fact that he's nearly touching the grass with that right hand side of the car. That can't be a good line.
Yeah,
the curb being stuck in a car slightly and sending it skyding.
But while we were watching that, and we'll watch it again there, yeah, you're right, he's clipping the curb on the inside and it's unsettling the rear, so he needs to avoid that. But Shaft did manage to get past Prescott, and at the end of the straight, a little bit later on the brakes, and through he goes. Lovely textbook move from the Belgian driver at the Belgian track. So nice little move there for him. And let's just keep an eye on the action. Foster's lost a position to Fairweather, but Foster has a lot of damage after getting caught up in that accident with what's his name? My mind's gone blank. Herkt, sorry, at Eau Rouge earlier on, but Fairweather getting the better of him. But I think Foster just basically trying to get the end of this race in a decent points position, because that's the best really he can hope for at this point. Morris getting pretty close to Foster. You can see Foster must be carrying some damage, really struggling to keep that Porsche pointing in the right direction.
Still able to take good lines though. Took a really good line through the bus stop there to set himself up into La Source here.
So there's been an overtake, and Bart Tonks has managed to get himself past the Ferrari of Rich Arnold and up into 14th position. So making good progress, Tonks, considering he started in the pit lane, already up into 14th, and beautifully done by the Dutchman in the number 33 Audi. A classic overtake that we'll see many of that style around any Spa race.
Definitely an early driver for early contender, for driver of the race, actually, Bart Tonks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened at the start, because he qualified quite well, but yeah, started from the pit lane. Maybe he just didn't make the race start. Perhaps he had a pop to the loo or something. But whatever the reason, he started from the pit lane. But yeah, already up to 14th. And to give that some context, folks, I mean, we've got a league record 27 drivers out there today, which you only see 23 on the screen because it doesn't go down that far, but 27 drives on track, and absolutely fantastic to see so many out there. But that puts into context the progress really that Tonks has been able to make just by keeping it clean and simple.
Absolutely.
I think my Welsh friend has made a mistake somewhere, because he's just had an off and lost a couple of positions. Let's go back and see if we can and see what happens here. And a very unusual place to spin there on at the top of the hill. Yeah, just the right and left hander. I can't remember what that corner's called. I'm sure Aaron will know because he's a corner naming expert.
It is. I know it's turn 10. It's after 10 and 11. I think it's what Fanya, and Piff Path. I think.
Yeah, but it's a strange place to lose the rear end. But he only lost a couple of positions, thankfully. The Welshman only goes currently in 10th in the McLaren. So Meffison's still close to Reed, and Foster getting pretty close to the back of Fairweather. Now he seems to have settled down. But the closest battle is Tonks and Humphreys, and they're heading down towards turn 1. Humphreys just protecting the inside line, but Tonks trying to go around the outside, gets good traction. This one looks like it's going to go right down to Eau Rouge, and he decides better of it, decides not to go in side by side, which would have been a suicide note. And he gets better drive out there as well. Is he going to be able to make the move stick? He's having a good go at it. Humphreys protecting his position as best he can, but Tonks on the inside now, and he just squeezes through. And brilliant driving from those two. Oh, a little snap oversteer there. He almost lost it, but he just keeps hold of it. And great driving from Tonks and Humphreys there. And that was
right.
Yeah, good stuff. That was, wasn't it, Doug?
Yeah, very entertaining. It's good to see drivers, as you said, go through Eau Rouge, actually backing off and being sensible and not just thinking, let's go for it. It's good to see sensible driving.
It is, and I believe we've just had an overtake with Schaaf and Stevens. I'm not sure what happened there. Let's pop back and have a quick look. Again, same part of the track.
Copy and paste.
Later on the brakes, down you go. But it's nice to see the defending drivers are giving plenty of racing room, aren't they? And they're not being overly aggressive. And they're giving everybody a fair amount of quarter, to overtake, aren't they, Aaron?
Yeah, it's a little bit different to Monza, even though it is one of the traditional old school circuits. You can leave a lot of room around Spa. Probably one of its many good features. Not very many bad ones tonight.
Well, Tonks has made another overtake. He's up to 11th now, and he's up past Arnold. And you can see Davis and Humphreys battling in the background there in the Ferrari and the Lexus, respectively. But Tonks has made up another position. But we won't go to the replay because we're just watching these cars now all within half a second of each other. 4 cars split by... Oh, and somebody's round, and it's Humphreys who's round. And is that a mistake? Oh! And let's take a look at the replay. And I'm not sure if Humphreys had contact there or if he made a mistake. So let's have a look. And he went wide there, that's for sure. And
they've certainly got some dust pickup there.
Yeah, and he will definitely have ruined the tyres. Oh,
there was a bit of contact.
So Arnold tags him, and that sends him spinning round, and then he almost cleans out every other driver on the circuit. Try and come back on, which is entertaining, isn't it? But never mind. There we go. That's what happens. So Fairweather having a much better showing this week, and he's battling good old back and forth here between these three. Foster right in the middle of it. Go for it, mate.
Oh, I was just going to say, nearly 3 wide. I can't believe Adams managed to get past. Well done, good driving into a strong part of the track as well, but I don't think this is the end of this battle.
No, I think Adams got damage from that crash, which obviously wasn't his fault. But he's managing to sort of keep these guys at bay through this sector 2 where he's got the advantage in the Porsche. And then they're coming back at him in the faster sections, and it's just back and forth, isn't it, every lap?
It's good for us, though. It's what we want to see. Keeps the viewers entertained.
It certainly does. I can't believe how much action we've had, and we're not even halfway through this first sprint race yet. We're 24 minutes in, and I mean, by God, we've had sorry, 24 minutes left, 16 minutes in, sorry, I got that wrong. And yeah, it's just action right through the field at the moment. We're just going to leave this briefly as Meffison's insanely close to Reed. Again, it's less than a tenth of a second at the moment. As they come down the back, down towards the bus stop chicane, he's looking for a move. He gets late on the brakes, and what? Oh, he's outbraked himself.
It's not made it stick.
I was about to say, what a move. And he outbraked himself and didn't quite make it stick, but the NSX driver of Meffison had a good go at it. Let's just take a quick look at that replay from the driver's point of view, and he just had to navigate his way back onto the circuit without making contact with anybody. And he did well there to make sure that he did that cleanly enough. And we're going to get back to our live action. And these guys all still pretty close together. Meffison still close to Reed. Tonks lining up another move. We'll keep an eye on that because he's pretty close to Lanzarote. Another driver who's having a much better round. Fairweather having a really good round. He had a stinker last week in the rain, but he's really enjoying Spa currently in 8th position. And there's been something's gone on here with the two Ferrari drivers because they've just made mistakes. So I'm just going
Oh, big crash. There was someone pointing the wrong way there.
yeah, something's happened with these Ferrari drivers because they've both swapped positions, and I'm not quite sure why. Oh, so the one Ferrari... Oh, they took each other out.
Oh,
No.
So the one Ferrari span at Eau Rouge and took his teammate out. And, oh, that is absolutely tragic. And, oh, what luck. What bad luck. And so I think Fairley's made a mistake because he's now only 0.3 ahead of Reed. And then Reed is only 0.5 ahead of Meffison. And that is still pretty close. Tonks is still behind Lanzarote. I'm keeping an eye on that as we go through. And you've got Herc just trying to make his way back through. He's got a lot of damage from that crash at Eau Rouge. And Damien Humphries has lost a few positions, so I think he's had an accident somewhere. Oh no, so yes, he got spun round earlier, didn't he? Yes, we forgot about that. So it's so close. There's so many battles. I don't even know where to look next. But Galanos really close to Humphries at the moment, and trying to challenge him for position. Schaff has just got past Weavers. Tonks has got past Lanzarote. So let's take a look at the replay and see if we can catch how that happened. So they're side by side down the back half of the track, and he just slides his way through. Great brave driving on the outside there from him. I think Weavers has lost a few positions. He's been overtaken by Galanos. Galanos past Humphries into the bus stop, and Galanos back up to 17th after those two accidents that he has had. And yeah, this is absolutely bonkers. I don't know where to look next, gents. I don't know about you.
How's Foster getting on with holding up on two cars behind him?
Yeah, so he's still there, he's still in 7th, and he is still holding off Morris and Fairweather. That seems to have settled down a little bit now. Tonks has got, as I said, up past Lanzarote, so Tonks now in the top 10, and he's only 3 seconds behind Foster, so with us just coming up to halfway, it would not surprise me at all to see Tonks battling with Foster for 7th before this race is out, if he carries on the way he's going. Just checking through the rest of the field. We currently have 24 drivers remaining, so we've had 2 retirees. 3 retirees, sorry, from this race so far, but we've still got a very strong grid of 24. And Tasker currently in last place in the McLaren. Just give him a little bit of screen time and congratulate him for carrying on. It's not easy when you're a lap down, but kudos to him for carrying on and keeping going in the McLaren. Rich Arnold, he's just overtaken Rich Arnold now, who's in the pits after that massive accident at Eau Rouge, and even took his teammate out in the process. So back to the action, and Amundsen is leading. We haven't really spoken about him. He got out in front at the start, disappeared. Everybody else has had accidents behind him, and he's just gone, and he's on his own. 10 seconds back then to Dominic Engel, who's having a very strong showing again in that Lexus, and in second place in number 46. Ash Humphreys currently in the podium positions, and of course these three, just to remind you, will start at the back for race 2 if they finish where they currently are. So they will not be allowed to qualify for race 2, and they will start at the back, so that should give us some fun overtaking action for that 20-minute sprint. Then you've got Fairley, Andrew Fairley for AMS Racing in the McLaren. 3 seconds off Ash Humphreys, but under loads of pressure from Lloyd Reed and Mefferson, who are both putting huge pressure both on each other and Fairley as they try to get up towards the podium positions. But they are standing station at the moment. Can Mefferson get past? The gap is absolutely nothing. He's on the inside as they head down towards the chicane.
Lick 'em.
And I don't do corner names. I know we're both free, and that's about it. But Mefferson up to 5th, and he's been trying to make that work for about what seems like about 30 minutes, but it's probably only been 3 laps. It's just been so much action. But
Mike, sorry to interrupt. Bart Tonks drive-through penalty.
Oh, he's got a drive-through, is he? And well spotted, my friend. And Bart Tonks with a drive-through. So all that hard work he's done has just been undone with a drive-through penalty. So that's going to cost him. Mefferson way out of shape, and just lost the rear end. And all that hard work, another driver with all that hard work who's ended up absolutely nowhere. Yeah, he will have lost.
Clean up on aisle 4 for Mefferson.
Clean up in his pants, that's for sure. And that was a brown trousers moment. Fairweather has lost a few positions, so let's just take a look at the replay and see if we can see what has happened to Fairweather. And yeah, he's in the wall. That'll be why.
I'm meeting with the wall.
That'll be why he's lost those positions. And
he will have lit up the rears probably on the exit of Rivage there on that AstroTurf.
Yeah.
Always sent you wide.
It definitely does, and he's down now in 12th position because of that accident. So Humphreys getting pretty close to Stevens at the back, and Weaver's close to Humphreys. Fairweather's lost another position. He's clearly got a lot of damage from that. Now he's down to 13th, and Balsillie gets himself up to 12th. But Schaaf and Hurt are pretty close together. These two have been battling away for a few laps. Hurt got past a couple of laps ago. Somebody's heading into the pits. Oh, that'll be Fairweather. So these two are about to gain a position from Fairweather, who heads into the pits. And there we go, still standing as they were. So Mefferson back up behind Reed now. I mean, Mefferson clearly the quicker driver, isn't he, Dougie? But that mistake, he must be kicking himself to spend 5 laps trying to get past the driver and then get past and then make a mistake all by himself. He's got to be kicking himself.
Definitely, it's so frustrating, I suppose, but you've got to make sure frustration will get the better of you, because that never ends well.
Yeah, Bart Tonks has made another overtake, so we'll just take a look at the replay and see if we can see how he's made that work. And it's another textbook. Ooh, a little bit of door rubbing there, but a little bit aggressive, I would say. But he manages to get himself through. But yeah, what I was about to say before all that kicked off is he's got himself a drive-through penalty at the track with the longest pit lane in the world, because of course this one you've got to do the two pit entries.
Oh,
not,
God!
Not the one. So I do joke that the pit here is longer than the entire Knockhill race circuit. Because it's absolutely ridiculously long. So a drive-through here costs you probably a minute, because you've got to do the 2 pit exit. You don't get the first pit exit that you get in F1. It's the second pit exit up through Eau Rouge. So yeah, you lose a good minute. So I mean, yeah, that's basically going to put him back, I don't know, 20th or something. I mean, he's going to be absolutely nowhere, isn't he? He's going to be gutted, absolutely gutted. But there we go. That is how the cookie crumbles. You've got to keep it in the white lines, haven't you, Az?
Yeah, I was going to say we do know that the penalty system knacked up a little bit last week, so it might not be a drive-through, but usually when those things flash up, it's pretty nailed on, isn't it?
Yeah, so I had that confirmed. The penalty system was actually working perfectly last week. It was all driver error.
Ah, right, okay.
So just to confirm, I have that confirmed. It was driver error. It looked like there was a problem with the penalty system, particularly with pit stops and issuing speeding penalties and stop-go penalties. But it was driver error. A few of the drivers didn't know where the speed pit entry line was, and they were basically going in way too fast and slowing down not quick enough, basically. So yeah, that is what happened. So Mefferson has managed once again to get past, and let's take a look at the replay and see if we can see how that move has happened. Oh look, it's a carbon copy of all the other overtakes we've had. And
You just keep pressing replay, don't you, Mike?
Yeah. I just watching, going back on the incidents and watching the same replay over and over again. But no, I mean, to be fair, it's a prime place for overtaking in any category around Spa, isn't it? And but it's great that we're seeing all these overtakes. It's fantastic to watch. And I think Lanzarote has had a bit of an issue because he's just lost like 4 positions. So let's take a look at the replay and see if we can see anything. And maybe he's just had an accident all by himself. And that is exactly what he did. He got on the curb, unsettled the rear end, which you just cannot afford to do in the McLaren or the Honda because they both have that issue. And he's basically had to do a 3-point turn out of the grass and lost about 5 positions because of that little error. So I feel for him. I've been there a million times. So I'm not judging you, my friend, I promise.
You beat me to it there. Project Cars 2 was calling my name there. Fortunate son. It's the amount of times I have spun a GT3 car at that chicane in that exact place is not even funny.
Nope, it is. I've been there a million times. Interestingly, I said Tonks was going to get onto the back of Foster with his pace, and Tonks is on the back of Foster with his pace, but he's also got to serve drive-through penalty. And now he's going to do that. I was going to say he can't have much longer left because you've got to serve it within 3 racing laps. And he's now going to do that. So Foster is safe for now, and in Tonks go. And it'll be interesting to see where Tonks comes out. So we'll keep an eye on that. But we're not going to watch him trundle through the pit lane at 12 miles an hour because that is boring. But where is the action at the moment? So here's the action at the moment. We've got Herkt and Balsili and Schaff all really close together. Balsili leading this group of cars at the moment down into turn 1, really close. Might have had a little bit of a lap tap there from Herkt, but he's managed to get through it. You can see the damage on Herkt's car when he had that accident at Eau Rouge. But him, Balsili and Schaff all having a good old ding-dong. Here they go now up through Eau Rouge. Can they all keep the cars settled enough? They can. Oh, Herkt running, Schaff running really wide there. And that's not going to do him any favours. And you're just at risk of track limits drive-through. Tonks is...
Oh, who's that in P10, Mike, who's got a drive-through?
No, it's Tonks.
It's still Tonks,
it's Tonks,
isn't it?
yeah, it hasn't cleared, so it's a bit late updating. According to my timing screen, it is cleared, and he's currently in 19th position. But the one on your screen only updates as the drivers go through a sector, so
yes,
it takes a little bit longer. But yeah, good close racing between these guys. Oh, Herkt managed to get past while we were saying that, sorry. I must have missed that overtake, so let's just pop back and see if we can see. Oh, look, he made it work through exactly the same corner as every other overtake. But I missed that, sorry, because we were talking about where Tonks was coming out, so sorry about that. But yeah, Herkt made it work, and down he goes, and Balsili's lost another position now, according to my timing screen, to Schaff as well. So Balsi really struggling around Spa. It's clearly not his track because I mean he's pretty much been a top 5 driver in all the time that we've seen him, hasn't he, guys?
Yeah, it is strange. It's when it mustn't. Sometimes the track doesn't quit for some drivers, and it's the way it is. Sometimes you just got to try and find your form or find your pace, and that's what it is.
Yeah, I just find it unusual for you know, it's just one of those things. We've all got a bogey track. I mean. There we are. There's a question, gentlemen. What's your bogey track? no matter how talented you are in any category of car, there's always that one track you just absolutely crap at.
Oh, you've really got the cogs ticking there.
That's right. You guys have a think for 2 minutes while I talk some nonsense, and I'll come back to you in a minute with that question. So we got just under 9 minutes to go now, so that's going to be probably, I will say, 4 laps, give or take, depending on when the lead driver crosses the line. Galanos taking Balsili on the inside of turn 1 there. Balsili really struggling. I don't know whether maybe he's had an accident and he's carrying some damage or something, but it's not going his way. But Galanos battling back up to 12th after having 2 Eau Rouge accidents. Let's watch him for Eau Rouge and hope he doesn't have another one. No, he's avoided that inside curve this time. That was causing him those problems, but a lot of drivers being really playing with the track limit, should we say, at the top of Eau Rouge there, and Radion really risking a track limits ping there. But so have you had time to think, gentlemen, and what is your bogey track?
I think I'm going to say mine is Zolder. I just don't tend to get on with it. It's not one of my favourites.
Zolder in Belgium, yeah, another Belgian.
Yeah.
Yeah, technical circuit. It's got more chicanes than I've ever seen at a track, and I think it's like 4 chicanes around Zolder, isn't it? It's a bit of a bonkers one, Zolder, but yeah, all good fun. I think, sorry, before I come to you, Aaron, Humphreys, I think, has had another accident. Yeah, so let's just have a look and see if we can see what's happened here, because he's had a bit of an issue somewhere. And there he goes through the right and left, nice and clean, down to 3rd gear, around he goes, and around he goes, and and into the wall. So apologies, Damo, for catching that on stream. I thought maybe you had had an accident there, and you have. But yes, that is about it at the moment. So, fairly getting really close now to Humphreys. He's got some good pace in this second phase of the race, and still a couple of laps to go for him to have a go and get into that podium place. Or is Humphreys playing the tactical game and wants to drop out the top 3 so he doesn't have to start the second race at the back? He's probably seen all these accidents and thought, I don't want to be coming through the field, not on a day like today. Anyway, back to our hashtag Ask the Boys. So, Aaron, what's your bogey track?
I would say it is Barcelona, Circuito de Catalunya. I just can't do it.
Yeah, another technical circuit, a really fun circuit to drive, but yeah, you just can't quite hook it up around there.
No, I deploy my tactical spinala all the time. It's that sort of left-right uphill chicane before you have the flick right into the DRS zone. I just can't. That corner I cannot do.
Yep, fair comment. I'm struggling to think of a bogey track because I'm crap at them all, but that's underselling myself a little bit. I shouldn't be. I'm not crap at them all. Mefferson has dropped behind Reed. I think he's had an accident. Yeah, he has. Let's just take a quick look at the replay. And he's just had a good old-fashioned spin-a-rooney on his own, and I think the tyres are playing a big part now. Tyre pressures, I think some of these drivers have got it a little bit wrong, and now Foster challenging Mefferson for that position. Meffeson's lost quite a bit of time with that spin. Have I got a proper bogey track? I'm sure I have. There are tracks that I absolutely adore and I'm dreadful at. Let's have a think. I'll come back to you on mine. Let me have a little think. Let's have a look. Just trying to see where the battles are. So fairly still battling Humphreys for the final position, but still the best part of the second behind. Mefferson seems to have settled down a little bit now and getting back on track and keeping Foster behind him and staying in 6th. Weaver's getting pretty close to Stevens. These two returning for their second season. They had a season under their belts in new cars now this season. Appear to be much more consistent, I think, don't they, Luke?
Yeah, definitely. I think sometimes it just takes you time just to be able to get settled into racing with everyone around you, but also to a car itself, because every car is so different, as we seen with Adam, where he's driving a Porsche now, where last season he was driving a BMW, and it's a big change.
Yeah, and it's not easy adjusting your driving style to different cars, is there? You know, when you've got all these cars drive differently, so you've got some front engine, some mid engine, some rear engine. You know, the different configurations. It's not easy to switch your driving style and switch to a new car.
No, it's not, and you know, we've not exactly had bags and bags and bags of time for these guys to get used to new cars. So fair play to Adam for being pretty much on the pace straight away.
Yeah, and like particularly for Adam Foster, I mean, these are not tracks that are going to suit his car. These first two tracks, so it'll come more to him later on. I think Kyle Army, for example, next week is much more sort of mid-speed corners and slow corners, which will suit the Porsche. So I think you'll probably see him more on the pace next week, really, compared to what we've seen him in these first two rounds. I still can't think of my bogey track. I know there is one because I remember saying at some point, I love the circuit, I love watching racing there, I'm just not very good at it. But I can't remember what track it was. I can't remember for the life of me. I can't remember.
I think about most things, to be fair. I go, I love watching a racing. I enjoy a good track, but I'm just not good at it.
I think it must be one of our old touring car tracks, maybe. But it's not Alton Park. I love Snetterton. I was pretty good run Snetterton, especially in the touring cars. I'm pretty good in these runs Snetterton as well, to be honest. It's not Alton. I love Alton. It's like one of my favourite tracks.
Donington?
It might be, actually. Yes, it is. Donington. Yeah. And that's the one. Donington. You're right. My bogey track is Donington. I'm just garbage around there. Although I will say, I did have a very good 2 sprint races there in a previous incarnation of this league when it was on PlayStation. And I had a good old battle with our friend Clenneth, who unfortunately, due to work commitments, isn't racing with us this season. But Clenneth, I hope you're watching, and if you are, hope you're well, my friend. And we do miss seeing his little face. And we've just missed a move there, and we're just going to take a look back and see if we can see that again. Foster under pressure from Morris, and Morris getting past, but then Foster battling his way back past.
The leader is on the final lap now.
So we've just been told the leader is on the last lap. And Humphreys and Fairley pretty close together, and Humphreys has dropped out of the podium places.
That seemed a little bit too easy.
I suspect there is a tactical game happening here, and he has decided to give that position up. Sorry, Mefferson's had an issue again. I'm just going to go back and see if we can see what happens here, because Foster and Morris got caught up in this because they're not too far behind. But Mefferson now down to 8th position. So at the moment he's in 6th as he stands as you watch the replay. Oh. And he lost it, spun the other direction going through that corner not that long ago, and he's lost it again. So I think he's cooked his tyres, and he's just not getting the best out of that Honda now in the closing stages of this race.
The leader is on final lap now.
So
No Name claiming a few lives tonight.
Yes,
That's
indeed.
that's. I was going to say. I feel like that took a couple of seconds to click there.
Yeah, no, sorry, it was because I was thinking to myself, because I was told the leader was on the final lap about a minute ago, and then it just said it again, so I was a bit confused. So I was just sort of checking some of the data to make sure that I hadn't lost my mind. But yeah, Balseeley having a good old battle here with Lancelot. Not really having the best of nights, but he's not late enough on the brakes compared to the McLaren there, and he has to stay in 14th.
Are we doing driver of the race today? Or are we not?
Yeah, we'll be doing driver of the race for both races, and Amundsen has pretty much, has led from start to finish. He's been super clean. His lap times have all been in the late 19s, early 20s, and he's 14 seconds ahead of Dominic Ingle, who's currently in second place. But we'll just watch Amundsen now as he comes towards the end of the final lap to be victorious on his debut. He missed the opening round, but Anders Amundsen on his league debut is about to take the victory in the McLaren at Spa-Francorchamps. Here he comes through the bus stop one last time, and up he comes to cross the finish line and take the victory.
The leader has finished the race.
In his debut, he takes victory, and a fantastic drive from him. Dominic Ingle currently in second, and there he goes across the line to take second place. Fairley is going to take that last podium place as he has overtaken Ash Humphreys with a lap to spare. Looked a little bit like Ash might have been playing the tactical game and dropping out so he could qualify for the next race. But, you know, benefit of the doubt and all that. But there you go, Fairley across the line for third, Humphreys across the line for fourth. Lloyd Reed with a fantastic fifth position. He's having a great season this time around. Adam Foster and Morris battling right to the end. Foster does have a bit of damage from that accident earlier on in the race, but he crosses the line in sixth. Morris in seventh. Very close finish from there. Mefferson, who will be very disappointed, was battling for fifth and in fifth at one point, but binned it a few times and finishes in eighth. And there was I think Johnsy made a mistake there, I want to say, right at the end. So we're just going to take a look at that, because I'm pretty sure he was in ninth, but he finishes in 10th. Yeah, he's in ninth here, being attacked by Herc from behind. He was just way too late on the brakes. In the words of Martin Brundle, he was a day late and $1 short. And
that's a shame.
He was not making that stick in a million years. So he drops a position. So Herc 9th. John Z, my fellow Welshman, is in 10th. Sharf 11th. Good debut from him. And he seemed to have a decent race. Galanos with a decent recovery to 12th after 2 Eau Rouge accidents. Lanzalotta in 13th. Balseely in 14th. Davis in 15th. Stevens 16th. Weavers 17th. Damien Humphreys in 18th. Tonks in 19th in the end. And what a first half of the race Tonks had, from last to 8th. And drive-through penalty has ruined it for him. Prescott in 20th, Shepherd in 21st, Fairweather 22nd, Arnold, who crashed into his own teammate, in 23rd, and Tasker in 24th. Sorry, somebody left in the middle of that then, which caused a bit of an issue. So there we go.
Green light, give it all you can.
And we are just sort this out a sec. So we are starting qualifying. So these guys have got absolutely no time. They have to go now because it's a 5-minute session, and as we said, it's a 3-minute out lap. So they're going to have 1 lap. So all they need to do is just make a lap stick. They don't have to do any crazy heroics. We just need to see a lap stick, because the chances are there are going to be some people that aren't going to be able to set a time. And of course, you've got the fastest 3 drivers from that first race, your race winner, and Dominic Ingle, and what was his name? Sorry, in the other McLaren, I've forgotten. It's gone. My mind's gone. Anyway. All starting at
we had Amundsen. We had Amundsen, didn't we? We had
Fairley was the other one, yeah. So Amundsen, Ingle, and Fairley will all be not qualifying and starting at the back. So these guys just need to get out there and set as good a time as they can without taking too much risk. Because if you've been it and you're starting at the back with the fast guys, it's going to be a miserable afternoon, isn't it, Dougs?
Yeah, definitely. It's. I'm not going to lie to you. I totally missed that question. I was zoned out. What was the question?
No, I was saying.
I had to make it up as I went along, and it just didn't work.
Hey, he's honest, folks. He's honest. No, I was saying that basically, if you don't set a lap and then you end up starting at the back with the 3 fastest guys in the grid, you're going to be miserable.
Yeah, it's going to be very easy to get past you if you're starting out back with the top 3 who's just finished that race so strong. So yeah, there we go. We finally got there. Apologies.
He's just started a new job, folks. He's a bit tired and his brain is all mushed at the moment. So we've all been there. So with the top 3 out, Galanos was very close to pole in the first place, but he hasn't even left the. Oh, he's now leaving the pits. Oh God, he's running the risk. He's going to have to do hell of an out lap because he's only got 2.5 minutes, so he's going to have to probably cook his tyres a bit more than he would like. And he's been honestly, I swear to God, I'm not cursing these drivers on purpose, folks. I'm really not. But he's not got enough time to make it round now. I don't think he's going to have a go. Or, well, he's on the second side of the pit lane, so he might just make it round. But I was about to say Galanos is my tip for pole because he was second in the first qualifying by like something like 0.0101 of a second from Amundsen. So he was going to be my shout. But now the question is going to be, is he going to make it to the line before the time runs out to set a lap? I think he might just be okay. Gentlemen, Aaron, we'll come to you first. So Dougie's got time to wake up and have a think about it and listen to the question. Aaron, who's your tip for pole for this this shootout quali? Are we going to see a surprise pole sitter?
I think we might see a pleasant surprise from Adam Foster.
Okay, yeah, that's a good shout.
That is my shout.
Okay. Dougie, were you listening to the question?
I will this time. My issue is I actually think I'm watching you two commentate, and I'm not actually a commentator. And I just know now I'm actually a commentator as well.
That's
anyway.
How good we are, mate. That's how good we are.
So I was going to go with Ash Humphries. He's
Yep.
did a tactical 4th place, so I think he's going to really go for it. So I think a strong qualifying position is going to do him well.
Well, just to say, we assume it was the tactical 4th place.
Yeah, assumption, yeah.
You know, I'm not going to point any fingers and say that he purposely dropped the 4th position, so he could qualify in this race. But, you know, it was discussed among the drivers pre-race, and some were talking about it, so there is always that possibility. So we're keeping an eye on Galanos, we're keeping an eye on Foster, we're keeping an eye on Humphries. Could somebody else spring a surprise? Herkt, who was a race winner last week, he could be one to watch, as well as people like Scott Balseeley, Damien Humphries, Bartonks, who had great pace in that first race and has got a lot of making up to do after causing himself that drive-through penalty, which basically cost him a top 10 finish in that first race. So there's a couple of drivers there who could be in with a shout at pole. So at the moment, Foster has set the fastest lap time, which is a 2:20 flat, and that's a pretty competitive time. About 2/10 slower than he managed in the first qualifying session, but that was his first run. Where is Galanos? Is he going to cross the line? He has crossed the line with 10 seconds to spare. You lucky little so-and-so. So we're going to jump on board with Galanos for the remainder of this lap. Aaron, talk us through the lap, mate. Aaron, don't talk us through the lap because he's binned it. Are you still there, Aaron? I'm not hearing.
I am still here.
Sorry. Right, I'm trying to find somebody who's just started the lap so we can go on board with them. Humphries is on the lap. There we go. So he's just gone through Eau Rouge. Take us through the lap.
It's Radion, actually. Yeah, we're on board with Humphries here at the top of the Camel Straight, going into Lecom now. It doesn't look like he's particularly pushing, but I can assure you folks he is definitely pushing. Going to work his way down now into turn 8. Tricky downhill braking zone. Very easy to lock the front right and totally kill your corner. So fair play to Ash, he's kept it in there as we work our way into Rivage. Very, very easy, as we've seen Memphis do, to lose it there on the AstroTurf, but Ash keeps it in as we go into 9 and 10 at No Name. Very, very important to get as close as you dare to that left-hand curb. Nailed the exit curb there. and again coming out at 10 as we now go into Piff Paff, the best named corner ever at a racetrack. That is the right-hander, and the left-hander is Fania. Perfect line through there, keeps the momentum up. Now, the start of the back straight. Very, very, very important to get such a good run off the hill, because you carry it with you all the way down to the bus stop. Oh, Ash has a little moment there. That's probably going to cost him all the way down here.
Yeah, it's cost him a tenth already,
speed.
just to keep you posted. It's cost him a tenth of a second so far.
That's a shame, that, as we start to build up the climb, flick left to Blanchemont, and he seems to have nailed that one as well. As we come up to the bus stop, very critical here. If he wants to make up any time, needs to be very aggressive over the curbs, but he takes it nice and easy. Doesn't want to unsettle the McLaren as we build up to the line. Not the greatest of laps, but considering he only had one lap, probably a really consistent effort, and he stays P2.
I will tell you, because I had the times in front of me, that until the bus stop chicane, he was 4 tenths up and would have been on pole position. And he broke too late into the bus stop, and that is what cost him. So that was that basically. He lost about a tenth on. He was a half a second up, lost a tenth on that back straight. We saw him, as you said in the stream. They got a little bit squirrely and lost a little bit of momentum, but it wasn't too bad for him. But yet he broke a little bit too deep into the bus stop and lost half a second through that one corner. That's when you know if you're going to be hero or zero, I guess, isn't it, boys?
Yeah, it's as I think pretty sure Martin Brundle said before, it's so crushing knowing you've done the perfect lap and then you get to the bus stop and you ruin it with a lockup, or you ruin it by going deep. And I'm sure Ash was probably chasing time from that little mistake that we saw earlier on in the lap. But,
yeah, which
at
he
least
didn't really need to do, because based on the times that I could see, he still would have been on pole even with that little mistake. So I think he's sort of psyched himself out of it a little bit there. But still, second place, front row.
Just on that.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry.
Go on.
Just from personal experience, if I know I'm up on a lap time, I put more pressure on myself, and I do the same thing, is put more pressure on myself to try and gain more time and then end up binning it and spoiling a whole lap altogether.
Yeah,
so it's easily done.
It is easily done. You're absolutely right. But he's on the front row though, with behind a Porsche that isn't the best off the starts, and particularly isn't the best on the long straight. So he'll have plenty of opportunity, I think, Aaron, to draft, particularly down the Kemmel Straight, won't he? Particularly on that first lap, and give him a chance to get himself up and ahead and away from the rest.
If Adam's still in the lead by the end of the Kemmel Straight, he's done a very good job, and I think from that point he just needs to build from Ash. Hopefully not get involved in any incidents this time. Obviously that one that he got involved in was no fault of his own, but there's no denying that certainly hampered his race.
Lots of people didn't manage to set lap times, so your top drivers in Ingle, Amundsen and Fairley are actually starting in 13th, 15th and 19th, because so many drivers didn't manage to set a lap time. So of course the reverse grid doesn't fully work unless everybody actually manages to set a lap, which is a bit of a shame. But some surprises there. Lanzarote up in third, great from him. Fairweather in fourth. Morris in fifth, would have expected that. He had good pace in the first one. Balsili up in seventh, so Humphreys ninth, Davis 10th, Prescott in 8th, great lap from him. Herkt, surprised, he's down in 12th. So some interesting positions here, lots of drivers out of position, so that'll be interesting to see. So the drivers are just getting ready, they're about to start the formation lap, and while we're waiting for that, I'm just going to introduce the interview that I did with one of our drivers pre-race, which was with Richard Arnold in the Ferrari. Right, so here we are at Spa-Francorchamps this week, and pre-race interviews as always, and delighted to be joined again by Rich Arnold, one of our Ferrari drivers. Welcome back, Rich.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. So last week, I think, didn't go fully to plan for you. Let's put it that way. There was a few errors in the old pit stops and such. which caused Adam a bit of a programming headache while he was trying to drive at the same time, from what I could gather. So we like to keep him on his toes. But yeah, different prospect this week. Much more difficult circuit, in my personal opinion, in Spa. But 2 sprint races. Take us through your thoughts on the race ahead. Or the 2 races ahead, I should say.
Spa. Interesting concept. It's a new track to me again. Really like it. It's technical. It's quick. It's lots of fast corners. You've got to have your wits about your longest track in the calendar. It's got everything. It's the reason why people love it so much. Preparation's been good. I think it's a hot weekend this weekend. Temperature's going to play a part. Tyre choice, especially with regards to pressures and keeping the car cool, I think is going to be a big one. And to whether drivers have figured that out or not, whether there's going to be loss of grip in certain places like Rouge especially could certainly throw a few curveballs out there. But I think the grid's going to be mixed up this week. I think it's going to be interesting. Yeah, it's one of those corners where if you get it right, it's your favourite place of motorsport in the whole world. Yeah. Whereas, the 90% of the time that you don't quite get it right, you're 4 tenths down by the end of the straight. So it really is weighing up a risk and reward with that corner. Spa's a funny place to have a sprint circuit at. If there was ever going to be an endurance or a long endurance race, you'd think Spa would be primed for that, and this year it's not. And it's like you say, you're going to have less time to sort out any problems that you have. I think, again, and this is harking back to probably mine and Alan's mentality a little bit, is where we think taking it easy around here is probably going to be the winner of the day. Because if you, like you say, you've got 9 laps short race, you've got maybe 19, 20 laps in the long race, you have an accident and you have to pit. That's your race over, done. So our mentality is take it easy. Don't fight for silly positions. If someone's flying through and they're quicker than you, then don't fight too hard, especially the likes of Rouge and stuff like that. It's just not worth it. And I think you end up making more points and making more places by being careful and playing it safe. Because like you say, you haven't got the time.
Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from on that, pal. Well, thank you very much for joining me once again, and best of luck to you and your teammate tonight. And
thank you very much.
I'll speak to you after the race, no doubt.
We will see you on the other side, my friend. Have a good one.
Cheers. Always good to talk to Rich. Great personality, and having a bit of a struggle in these opening races this season in that Ferrari. Maybe just not the car for him, perhaps, do you think, boys? But he's a great personality, and he just gives it his all every time he's out on track.
Definitely, it's interesting to see it actually taking it in essence the safe route and just being calm, not trying to race too hard is actually quite interesting, especially when it's a sprint race and you would actually think mentality is go and get as many positions as you can.
Yeah, I think it's track dependent though, Aaron, isn't it? I think he's very much thinking, well, other people are going to crash, but unfortunately he did crash himself going through Eau Rouge, which is ironic, I guess.
Yeah, I think like you alluded to there, it might not be the car for him. It might not be the car track combo for Rich as well. From what we've seen of him, he's definitely got the ability and he's got pace, so interesting to see how the season unfolds.
Yes, sorry, and he's in the pro category. He's not in the AM category. He's in the pro category. So, he's clearly got the talent. He just needs to find a way to hook it up. So there we are. They're round 2-1, and they're heading down towards the end of these pit start boxes here, and this is where the green light will go, and these guys will go flat up through Rouge and Radion for the first time for this 20-minute sprint race. I'm expecting it to be around 8 laps. And there we are. We have the green light, green flag, foot flat to the floor, and away they go down to the first corner for the second time this evening, and all nice and clean up through a Rouge. Oh, a little bit of a jump from the purple McLaren in the background there, but all have got through pretty cleanly. But there's Lanzarote loses a couple of places, and Johns is getting interested in the back of Morris. Fairweather's managed to make his way through, and Foster and Humphreys battling for the lead, and Foster just He didn't physically make contact, but he just pushed Humphries wide enough there for Humphries to make a mistake. And there's somebody's had an accident in the background. I think that might be Bal Seeley has had an accident in the background because he's all the way down now in 20th place. Let's just take a look at the replay. Go back and see if we can see what happened to Scott. So he's battling away now. He's currently in, 7th or 8th position there. And through they go, right and left. Oh, and he just gets spun around. And spun again, and spun again, and spun again, and spun again. And then he gets spun again.
Wow.
And that is the most I've ever seen one car hit. Ever. I mean, I honestly, we don't like to see drivers retire, but Scott Balseeley, if you watch this back, I do not blame you at all for just heading to the pits and giving up, mate, because that was absolutely some of the worst luck I've ever seen a driver have on an opening lap. I mean,
It was like watching a pinball.
it's not a laughing moment. It's just one of those you got to laugh or you'll cry. But I mean, boys. Well, what can you say? I mean, I've never seen. I've seen drivers tagged, but what was that? Five or six tags? It's just.
I'm just glad it wasn't real life.
Oh God! If I'd been real life, they would have red flagged it. I think it was just utterly.
That was
bonkers.
awful.
Utterly bonkers. I've never seen anything quite like that. That was crazy. I mean, I'm really glad we had the replay, but I feel for you, Scott, and head up, mate, and we'll see you for next week's race. Yes, here we are, back to the action then, and Foster still ahead of Humphries, but Humphries only 0.4 of a second behind Foster as we start the second lap, and this will be his opportunity now with straight line speed down this long straight. And that is where the Porsche struggles. So he needs to get it down here, doesn't he, Aaron? Because if he leaves it to sector 2, that is where Foster has the advantage. And you can see this straight line before.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be good.
Sorry.
He just thinks better of it.
Yeah, Foster was later on the brakes, and that's. I mean, he talked about that, didn't he, when we spoke to him pre-race, and that he was hoping that he could defend by being able to brake later, and that was a prime example of him being able to do that.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like he could have probably done the same move even from the outside, from where Ash was. He's so much more later on the brakes.
Yeah, we just see it again there in front, but the car we're looking at this time is Fairweather, who has lost a few positions. So we just head in right and left, and is it through this one that he loses it? Yeah, he just had a jump off the curb and lost it mid-corner, and that has cost him a couple of positions, but there we go. Unfortunately, that is how it goes sometimes. So Humphries still behind Foster then, but he'll have a couple more stabs at that, and this is where he'll make up time now in the back half of the circuit and in the front half of the circuit. Fairweather's clearly got a bit of damage because he's lost another position. He's down in I think Amundsen, your winner from race 1, is had an off there, and let's just pop back and see if we can see what happens here. And he just a snap of oversteer mid-corner, tries to correct it, the rear end decides I'm going to find some grip, and then absolutely flies him into a barrier. So not fun. And Humphries now up past Fairweather, and who's clearly struggling after that, and who's now gone into the pits. So Humphries up in 6th place at the moment, and about a second behind Lanzalotta, who is a second behind Johnsy, who's currently in 4th. So Foster still leading Humphries. He's a second back this time. It's going to be too far. He's not going to gain a second down the back straight, unfortunately. Morris still running in 3rd at the moment and having a cracking little race. It looks like Galanos has just made a position, so let's just take a quick look at the replay and see if we can see how he made that work. And they're side by side heading down towards Eau Rouge and Radion, and through he goes. So well done to Galanos, starting pretty much at the back and already up into 12th. Oh, and Humphries has taken the lead, and we've missed it, so we're going to have to go back and have a look. So, where are we? So we didn't get through. Oh, Foster's made a mistake. No. Oh, and that's cost him, and he just run wide. You could just see the bounce on the car. You had to wait to put the power back down, and well, that's the easiest overtake Humphries is going to have this season, Dougie, isn't it?
Definitely. Well, now Humphries has just got to defend from a position now if Adam tries to come back at him. So it's all for him to lose now, I suppose.
Yeah, as we come back to the action, we just see Dominic Ingle making his way up into 10th position and ahead of Davis in the Ferrari there. Unusual place to make a move stick, but he did. And next up is Davis's teammate Rich Arnold, who we just heard from.
I wonder why it's showing Fairweather and Balsidi is having stop goes.
They've sped in the pit lane.
Ah, that'd be why.
Yeah, I mean, both have had accidents, so they've probably gone into the pit lane a little frustrated and just overcooked it a little bit. But yeah, we're just on with Dominic Ingle at the moment as he is battling Rich Arnold. And Rich Arnold runs a little bit wide there, so that's going to give Dom a little bit of a run, but he's going to be on the outside for turn 1, which is not where you want to be. You want to be on the inside if you can, but he'll have the chance of the switchback. Oh, Rich really early on the brakes and just lets him go through, and I think that's evidence there of Rich's pre-race talk about not battling with people who you ain't going to beat and just letting them go. So Galanos has got past Davis as well, so Galanos will be coming at Arnold pretty soon and trying to follow Ingle through the pack, and there we go, he gets past Arnold as well. Unusual place to make an overtaking move, but he makes it stick, and there we go. So next up the road for those two is Prescott, who's still holding 8th position and driving very well at the moment, and Humphries looking to get interested in the back of Lanzalotta if he can. So Foster hasn't just been dropped by Humphries, just to make that note. And sorry, you were going to say something, Aaron.
I was going to say, we never actually picked a driver of the race for race 1.
Oh no, we didn't, did we? Yeah, we'll see if we can come to a unanimous decision. As soon as it was your idea, you can go first, Aaron.
Well, despite his early errors at Eau Rouge, I think my driver of the day would actually be Foto Galanos.
Okay. Dougie?
Mine would be Edmondson. Debut race, took fastest lap, took first, and just in essence just led all the race and just kept his head in the game.
See, no, I was going to say, despite his drive-through penalty, Bartonks. So, because
that would have been my second choice.
Yeah, he drove. He drove superbly in that, particularly that first 15 minutes of that race. And yeah, that drive-through penalty just killed it for him. But
I'll go Bartonks as well then. I'll go
Bartonks.
We're unanimous then. Bartonks. Oh, big accident! Ooh. Prescott and Galanos. Oh,
no, he's supposed to go off.
Oh, my heart.
Oh, someone spun in front there, whoever dodged.
My heart's
Galanos.
not going to take it. So I was just going to go to Galanos because I noticed that he had got past Dominic Ingle. So this is coming up now. So he's a little bit later on the break, I think. No, he's already passed him. He's pushed him wide, and then he's made the contact with Prescott. Just 2 into 1 just doesn't go through there, does it? And
he'll just spin ahead.
I wonder if it was Rich Arnold in the
yeah,
Ferrari.
I think it was. Yeah, I think he's just trying to avoid the accident, and it caught him out. Oh, big
it
shame.
might have been his teammate actually.
Yeah, Rich is still there. You are right. It was Davis. Yeah.
Oh, Galanos!
Galanos, Photo. If you watch this back, I'm sorry.
Oh, big hit there.
And Shepard has had an accident.
That's absolutely wrecked.
Eau Rouge is just absolutely murdering these drivers. And yeah, that's seen better days, that McLaren. And hard lines, Mr. Shepard. That is how it goes. Where do we go from there, boys? What a bonkers couple of moments that was. But yeah, that was was that? That was Shepherd, wasn't it? Should we see if we can go back and see the replay on that? I'm not
I think
sure.
it hit Galgonos, you know. I think that's what happened. He's collected Galgonos just as he was exiting and took a pits.
Yeah, nobody's particularly close to anyone at the moment, so we'll just take a look. So just as Galgonos was about to quit to the pits, you think he hit him, do you?
I think so, yeah. I've seen Galgonos do like about a 1080 spin.
So here he comes up through a Rouge, unsuspectingly. Oh yeah.
Fine, there you go.
Yeah, he just didn't know he was there. Oh, got him for him. That is a shame. Big shame. But there he just didn't know he was there. So we're still watching replay at the moment. There's still 20 odd seconds to go, and I can't stop it until it decides to run out. Unfortunately, there is no end button for it. So we are still watching the replay at the moment. There's just over 10 seconds left, but Foster in the actual action is right up alongside Ash Humphries now, and as Humphries and Foster are right next to each other and switching positions, so I'm waiting for the please end. No. And there we go, so there they are right next to each other. So we'll just go back 15 seconds to see if we can see a bit of that battle. Here they are, door to door. This is a replay, sorry folks, I forgot to press the replay button to say that it was, but yeah, they were door to door down the main straight, and Foster backs out of it and gives him the benefit of the doubt. And there we go, that's the end of the replay. And interestingly, Dominic Ingle in 8th is making decent progress and managed to avoid that massive accident with Foto Galnos. But he is a second behind the 2 cars in front, the 3 cars in front, sorry. And currently he has the fastest lap with a 19.3, and they're doing 21. So looks like there's going to be some moving and shaking. And Humphries has managed to get past Lanzalotta and up into 5th. So here he comes. And unusual to see an overtake into that corner, boys.
It's probably the best place to overtake on track, isn't it?
Yeah.
So.
And we're just glad of it. You know, jokes aside, we're just loving seeing the overtakes. So.
Ooh, off in the background.
Yeah, Lancelot has gone off, and Ingles made his way up into 6th. Davis has lost a lot of positions, so I think he may have had a little incident. So let's just have a look. So they're battling. So no surprise with the corner they're battling. Lost 1 place, lost 2 places, and just caught that. Good save actually, because that looked like he was going to have a good little spin round, but he just managed to save it, and Mefferson gets himself past as well. So not as bad as it could have been if he'd actually spun there, Aaron, I don't think.
No, that could have been a whole world of pain there if he'd have spun.
So these two still battling away for the lead of this race and the win. Neither of them would have really been expecting a win today. Probably, you know, maybe a podium and top 6 with the pace they've had, but this is the way the cookies crumbled. And if Ash Humphries did purposely finish in 4th position, it appears to have been the right decision, doesn't it, Doug?
Definitely. As we said, we've assumed it's tactical, but we don't want to put any blame out there. But it's works magic if he gets to go 1st position in the end.
I mean, if it was tactical, he lost probably 2 points for finishing 4th instead of 3rd, and is now battling for a race victory. I mean, sound tactics as far as I'm concerned.
I'd trade that in, yeah. I'd take that any day.
Yeah. I mean, you know, there's no right or wrong. There's no rule against it. Those are the rules of the race, in that, you know, your finishing position determines the start of the next race. So, you know, it's.
If you want to take a gamble and pay off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, it's not as extreme as ours, where you have a full reverse grid. So, you know, purposely crashing out in race 1 in the Touring Car Sim Racing League, for example, it would be very much frowned upon, because that would very much influence where you start race 3, but that's a very different scenario to this. But cracking battle from these two, and impressed so far, boys, with Foster's ability to actually keep pace with that McLaren, considering how much he thought he was going to struggle.
Yeah, I think the toe. Sorry, butt in, Dougie. I think the toe must be really powerful to keep pulling him along.
Notice Reed has just got past Prescott. Let's just take a quick look at the the replay. So they're nose to tail coming through the section at the top. Oh, a little bit of oversteer from Prescott, and then Reed just says, "Thank you very much. See you later, fella." And through he goes. Absolutely nothing between Foster and Humphries again. The gap is 0.0 according to my screen. Waiting for the replay to finish so we can see what it is on track. And there they are.
Here we go.
Nose to tail again.
Adam's going to have the run down into La Sauce.
I think you can see Humphries is parking his car just where it needs to be in those corners, isn't he, to stop Foster having a run. Oh, is he going to be later on the brakes into the first corner? No, he thinks better of it, backs out, and Humphries maintains a position. Oh,
side.
Yeah, you called it there, switchback, a much better exit, and he has got the position, and Humphries has to back out, but now Humphries will have the tow all the way down the straight, and he's only 0.2 of a second behind, so this is the point where Humphries can, if you're going to lose the lead, that's where you want to lose it, isn't it, Aaron? Because you've got the opportunity down here to make it back.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to look like he was bothered about following Adam in the slipstream there, so strange one. He's going to have one more crack at it, I think.
Do you know what? I'm going to go out on the limb and say maybe it's tyres, because I mean we saw him dropping pace in the last race. I mean, if it wasn't tactical, it could have been tyres, and maybe with the hot temperatures that we've got at the track today, you know, this could well be playing a huge part in why Humphries has not been able, because the McLaren is very tail happy, so it's heavy on its rear tyres anyway, so that could well be playing a part. Do you think?
It's not unfair to suggest that, absolutely not. And we know how quick both of those guys are from last season, and it'd be very strange to just sort of see Adam walk off into the distance the way that it appears like he has done so far.
Oh, coming together there, and Dom just thought he had the inside. Humphries was like, "No thanks, mate, that's not happening." Let us just take a quick look at the replay and see how that looked on board. So great battle from these two, and but yeah, unusual place to dip up the inside. I mean, yeah, I think he's just got it a bit wrong. Yeah, I think Dom's got that one a bit wrong. I don't think that was a move there. Do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, that was a little bit too brave for me. I think he was going up for a gap there that was always going to disappear.
Man, leader is on the final lap. Give it all you can.
Would you have tried that move, Dougie?
Well, I've tried worse moves, but no, I wouldn't. No, if I was in a sensible mindset, no, I wouldn't try that move at all. No.
And we see Ingle and Humphries still battling away for that position. And Lloyd Reed, they are on the final lap now. Lloyd Reed has managed to make his way past Arnold. Let's just go back and have a look at that. These guys battling. Oh, we just missed where the overtake happened, but he gets past him along the back fast section and gets himself up into 8th position. So Ingle still with the fastest lap.
The leader is on the final lap. Give it a final push.
The leader is on the final lap, which according to this is Morris, which I think is wrong. How come Morris... Have these two had to come in together? Because Morris is now leading the race. I think they must have. Let's go back 30 seconds and have a quick look.
Yeah, you can see Morris there.
Yeah, Morris is already ahead. What the hell has happened?
Where's Adam?
Adam's...
Adam's had a moment at Eau Rouge. At Radion, sorry.
So, Humphries must have had a moment before that.
They've all shuffled down.
Yeah, Humphries must have had a moment before that, which caused him to drop back to 3rd, and then Foster's had a
The
moment.
leader is on final lap now.
There's a twisting the tail.
Yeah, so it's told me 4
that's
times now the leader's on the final lap, so God knows what is actually happening, but the timer has run down. And Morris, who's
He might
just...
be on the final lap.
Yeah, sorry, I've still got the replay on there. It is in the replay. Morris, who's just kind of stayed out of trouble and sat there in 3rd position for most of this race, all of a sudden finds himself in 1st position and about to take his first win of his league racing career with Final Drive Sim Racing and of this season. So, yeah, absolutely no idea what happened there, but we didn't manage to catch it. We will take a look and see if we've got some sort of replay that we can go back and see once the race has ended. But Humphries...
And Foster's gone past Humphries now.
Yeah, he's got back past him, so while we were trying to look at the replay. But
Oh, wow.
Oh, what a move. Take us through that one, Aaron.
The cojones!
Finished the race.
What a move from Dominic Ingle. Absolutely flew through the pack. Fastest lap. Definitely driving the race for me. On the probably the last area he could possibly overtake. Around the outside as well. Full send from Dominic Ingle. What a move.
Here we are on board to see what it looked like. Well, not quite from the driver's point of view because we're in the passenger seat, but you get the point. We just held that on absolutely beautifully. Yeah, you don't see that very often, do you, Doug?
No, definitely not. It's very, very impressive. Fair play.
And we just had to go back and take a look at that because it was just exceptional. But doing that, so Morris, out of nowhere, is your race winner, and congratulations to Graham Morris on his first victory. Even though he's showing us third in the standings there on the graphic on the screen, he's showing us first on the top left. So I got no idea what's going on here. I got no idea what's going on. Adam Foster in second position. Him and Humphries looked dead certain to be battling for the lead all the way to the end, but they clearly both had issues. We'll catch up, hopefully, with both of those drivers in the post-race interviews. Ingle in fourth. Damien Humphries with a very good fifth position. I'm sure he'll be pleased with that. Didn't quite hold off Ingle at the end. Schaff in sixth. Great finish for him. And they're all changing up a bit now, unfortunately, because people are leaving the lobby, etc. So it's going to be nigh on impossible to go through the rest. But yeah, I'm going to give my driver of race 2 to Dominic Ingle personally, gentlemen. I don't know what your opinions are.
I totally agree.
Yep, absolutely.
So let's just see what car numbers. 144, there was contact, but that is on 11 minutes, so that was nowhere near the end, was it? 246, yeah, the only so they didn't make contact with each other. So we can just see, this is the replay now of, oh, that's, oh yeah, I'm not on the right driver, am I? Yeah, so no, that was the contact we saw on stream, which was just a little bit of door banging down there. So whatever happened to them, it didn't happen with each other, and there are no other incidents with them involved. So
Green light. Give it all you
good
got.
to go. We'll have to ask them what happened, because absolutely no idea what happened there in terms of that change for the lead. But a huge congratulations to Morris, who has got himself a race victory. And I don't think any of us had him down for a race victory, did we, boys?
Definitely not, no.
But
it's unexpected, goes a twisting a tail, makes it exciting for us.
yeah, exactly. Keeps it interesting and everything else. So, but yeah, wow. What can I say to that? I thought the racing was fantastic. That's probably the most enjoyable stream that we've done for Final Drive Sim Racing, I'd say, guys. There was action all through both races, wasn't there? Just round it up for us, I guess, guys. Aaron, your thoughts on that before we go over to the drivers for interview?
Christ, where do we start? It was jam-packed right from the beginning. I think we picked the perfect track to go to in terms of racing. Spa never ever fails to deliver, whether it be open wheelers, GTs, classics. It's always a good race. And we've seen some spotless driving. We've seen plenty of mistakes along the way as well. We've seen plenty of comebacks. It's been it's been a night for everyone, I think.
Yeah. Any further thoughts, Doug?
I've always liked the sprint races format. I think it brings, in my opinion, I love the action it brings with it, and Spa's just added to it. And we've seen a few victims of Eau Rouge, I think is how you say it.
Yeah.
And it's from a spectator's point of view, with with I suppose the accidents and the incidents and the spins, it's just been exciting to commentate over and also for the spectators as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting, talking to Rich before the race, you were saying, the drivers was questioning or, using Spa for sprint races as opposed to endurance, which is not what it's typically known for. But that worked a bloody treat. I thought it was fantastic. Anyway, that's enough of our voices. We're going to head over to the post-race interviews chat now and hear from some of the drivers. So we'll see you over there in a moment. So let us see if we can pick up some of our drivers. We're just waiting for them all to connect. Here we are. We can hear them. We can see them. All good. So just waiting. Some people are still doing the old spinneroonie thing.
Should turn the old light on. 2 secs.
And there we go. So we are joined by 3 drivers, from what I can see. We've got Adam Foster, we've got Rich Arnold, and we've got Damien Humphreys. Thank you for joining us, gentlemen. And I think we've got to start with yourself, Adam. I was kind of hoping Ash would jump in as well, just so you guys could talk us through that absolutely epic battle from race 2 that you guys were having. Talk us through the start of that sort of first 4 or 5 laps where you guys were just battling with each other, which was fantastic to watch. But then we couldn't find it on the replay or whatever happened. All of a sudden, Morris won the race. So if you could just give us a run through of what on earth happened. Take us through the battles, and then obviously, if you could tell us what on earth happened in that last lap or 2, that would be great.
Yeah, luckily Ash has joined as well, so we can have a little chat about it. But yeah, race 2, I somehow got pole position with the Porsche, which was good, I suppose. But then, got a good start. I knew Ash was going to have the run on me because McLaren and the Porsche, it will outrun you all the time on the straights. And then, I was sticking behind him. I was in front, and then I made a little mistake going into the hairpin, which got him in front. And I was like, he was going to overtake me at some point anyway. And then I see him backing up a bit. And I was like, all right, then, catching up. And then, it's up and down the Kemmel straight, down the back straight. It's just side by side. And I think he was running out of fuel. That's why he dropped.
Right.
And
okay.
For me, I said to myself, I've got 1 lap left. Let's bring this home, first place in the Porsche. And I said, I'll take it easy in Eau Rouge. And what happens? I bin it in Eau Rouge. I managed to save it before it hits the wall and continue on. And finish second.
Disappointing, of course. I mean, you must be disappointed when that happens. When you lead in a race. But I suppose you've got to take the positives. Like you said, you weren't expecting to be on pole. You weren't expecting to be battling. excuse me, for a victory. So a lot of positives to take from that one.
Yeah, got P6 again in race 1 and P2 in race 2. So good lot of points there.
Yeah.
And then we're now coming on to the tracks that the Porsche is good at, so
and
up front even more.
We look forward to seeing you battling towards the front. So Ash, if I can bring you in now, mate.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. So I understand there was a fuel issue, which is what caused you to sort of have to drop back and just try and finish that race at all then for those last few laps.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure why, but I sort of halved my fuel from the first race, but I had nowhere near enough fuel, so I was about 3/4 of a lap short. So luckily, I managed to finish in, I think it was third.
You got third. Yeah.
At least I managed third. It was a great battle with Adam. It was really fun, but I was dropping 2-3 seconds, and I had to run in like fuel mix 10, 11 just to finish the race.
Yeah.
So but no, it was good. Just an error on my part.
Yeah, it happens. We've all been there with underfield. I've even done it in real life on track. Damien will tell you about that someday, I'm sure. But I got to ask, was it a tactical 4th position in the first race, or was Morris just too quick for you? Not Morris, sorry. Who was it who got past you? I can't remember now.
No, it wasn't a tactical decision, but probably worked out better for me finishing 4th anyway. I had really bad front graining and really bad understeer. I don't know if you could see the onboards, but the car was absolutely dreadful. So I didn't really fight too much.
Right.
And then the second race, the car was great. So just how it goes, I guess.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But great drive, and obviously a shame with the fuel issue, because you guys were having a cracking battle for that lead. But it happens, and well done though for a cracking round overall. I think 2 really good finishing positions there for you and some good points.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
No worries. Damo, over to you, my friend.
Good evening.
How are we?
Not too bad. After the first race, I was feeling a bit down in the dumps because pretty much everything that could have gone wrong didn't go wrong. I had a few little battles in there, but the first race I was glad when it finished. And then the second race went much better. Had some nice little battles, got a few overtakes in, and really enjoyed the second sprint race.
Yeah, I mean, you and Dom, who's just jumped into the comms box with us, were having a cracking battle in the last sort of 3 or 4 laps of that race. We saw the non quite move from Dom, which didn't quite happen. But you both fell back in the line and carried on the battle. But yeah, take us through it from your point of view.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, obviously, it didn't go too badly. But what I was thinking, obviously, is basically if you're going to go past me, you got to go around the outside of me.
Yeah.
So obviously, I was trying to put my car, on the inside every time, which I managed. And obviously, on that one, he kind of went for the dive, and I kind of went to cut it off at the same time, which is why we touched. Thankfully, it wasn't too bad, and obviously, we just carried on racing, so all good. But then right at the end, he had the better drive out of the corner, coming around the outside, and I had to kind of dab on the brakes, because if I'd carried on, basically I would have ploughed into him on the outside. Yeah. So I had to give him the space, and he had to run down into the bus stop, and he nicked it at me on the last corner.
Yeah,
he was quicker than me, to be fair. So I was happy that I managed to hold him off for as long as I did, to be fair.
Yeah, we caught that on stream, and then we went on the onboard for the replay for Dom's onboard, because to hold that around the outside, and in fairness to Dom, that was quite a move. But cracking battles from you. Yeah, great to see you up there for race 2 as well. Yeah, that was really pleasing to see, mate, and well done. Rich, if I can bring you in next, if that's okay, my friend.
Absolutely.
And how are we?
Yeah, a bit sore after that.
So we caught up before the race, and you were saying it wasn't a track that you're familiar with, and you're having to learn these tracks as you go. So bit of a baptism of fire for you tonight. But how did you find it?
Yeah, well, apart from hitting my teammate, which is the golden rule, isn't it? Is not to do that for a Rouge, but that was frustrating. So race 1, we were making pretty good progress. Struggled a bit qualifying, but we were getting through, and Alan unfortunately just lost it at the top of Eau Rouge, and I was that close behind him. I couldn't get out of the way, and I had to decide either go to his front or to his back. Thought I'd go to his back, but he was going backwards, so I ended up taking him right out, and it ended my race. I was put in the pits, and 3-minute lockout, and that was it. So first race was pretty tough. Second race went pretty well. We made a good start from the grid, and managed to overtake a few people. I think a few people ran out of fuel on the line, didn't they? We had a couple of guys that were stationary on the line, which helped. But P8, I think, in the end, race 2. So really happy with that.
Yeah, we did catch the old teammates at the top of Eau Rouge on the stream, unfortunately. So you can watch it back should you wish to. Yeah, I mean, we lost count. I mean, I don't know if the boys can remember how many accidents happened in Eau Rouge tonight, but it was absolutely unbelievable. We didn't know where to look in the first race. It was just all happening. It was 2 of the best races we've commentated on for you guys. It was just absolutely action all through. But poor Galanos, every time I went to Galanos tonight, he crashed at Eau Rouge every time. I think he spun 4 times at Eau Rouge, just Galanos, and every time I went on to him, when he was anywhere near Eau Rouge, he crashed. Poor bugger. So
Yes.
commentator cursed him truly tonight. But
Nothing against my teammate Alan at all. He couldn't do anything about it, and I couldn't do anything but hit him. It's just one of them. So it's it's all good as all it is.
Well, it was what we talked about pre-racing. People I think were in the heat of the moment, not dialing back 10% through Eau Rouge and hitting it in quali pace, and then a little bump on the inside curb, the rear goes, and as you boys well know, that's it. You lose it and you spin. So, Dom, cheers for joining us, Dom. How are we?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Mikey.
Yeah, I'm really good, mate. Really good. Cheers for coming into the comms box. So, what was I going to ask you? I was going to ask you about your race 1 podium, I believe, wasn't it? Off the top of my head, sorry, I think.
Yeah, P2. I think.
Yeah, that's right. And you seem to really be on it in the Lexus this year. So you changed from the Boatley to the Lexus, and so obviously the first time we've had a chance to speak to you about that. And just take us through your evening.
Yeah, it's pretty good, really. I mean, I was fortunate in a way because I did a race on Sunday night in the Lexus round Spa, where I realised that I killed my front tyres really quickly. So in that first race, I was far more sensible in the first 20 minutes and just played it a little bit more safe, and also got a bit lucky as well in the first couple of laps. Obviously, with Aidan Herct, I think obviously lost it through Eau Rouge, and because I was immediately behind him, I could see what was happening when he caught the first curb, so I was able to brake and move round. Poor Wes and Adam behind, obviously, as I moved out of the way, they then just collected him, so it was a bit unfortunate. And then Fotis Glanos obviously then span, so that put me into P2. And from that point on, I was just like, well, I wasn't going to catch Amundsen. He had really, really strong pace in the McLaren, so I thought, well, I'll just bring it home. Still managed to get a couple of track cuts as always, keep me on my toes for the last few laps, but apart from that, it was good. And then second race was great fun, actually, sort of coming through the field a bit, a couple of tiny bits of contact, really good battle with Damo, as you said earlier. I made it sort of good way through the field up to that point, and then got up behind Damo in a similar car, and then all of a sudden it wasn't quite so easy. And did go for a bit of a dive at one point, which was a bit much, but thankfully it was just a bit of door banging on us. And then on that last lap, when I went round the outside, I don't know what the name of that corner is, but around the outside of that corner, I really wasn't sure whether to go for it or not, and I think we're both a bit hesitant, but too wide round that corner is not very often, I don't think. So.
No, like I say, we caught it on the stream, and we even went on the replay then is you on board, so it's worth a watch back if you get the chance later on. It was a brilliant move, and it
was very reminiscent of Max Verstappen on Felipe Nasser, that move. Exactly the same corner, about 7 years ago.
Yeah, Aaron is an F1 encyclopedia, so. But
it was good.
Yeah,
really enjoyed the race today.
Yeah, and I think you were our driver for race 2, wasn't he?
Yes,
so
Dom
Dom, you were our driver for race 2, and Bart was our driver for race 1, because he drove through the field, and if it wasn't through that track limit drive penalty, he was battling for 7th at one point. So, and he started from the pit lane. So he was our driver, despite that drive-through penalty spoiling it for him, because he did drive extremely well. So a little consolation for him. So next week, gentlemen, we've got Kyle Army. Different proposition for you. Brings the Porsche back into play a bit, as Adam said. So, Dom, we haven't had a chance to speak to you much, so just ask you first. What are your thoughts on Kyle Lamy, and what are your aspirations this season? Are you hoping to be able to battle for the title, and your thoughts on Kyle Lamy?
I think title-wise, it depends. I thought Fotis was going to be very quick this year, but he missed the first couple because he had COVID, or the first round because he had COVID, and he's only really sort of recovering now. So that probably hampered him slightly, but he's very quick in the Honda when he gets it hooked up. Obviously, you've got other people like Amundsen, who I haven't seen before. Herct has got good pace from Monza, who's very strong, so we shall see. Kyle Army, I haven't driven the Lexus round it yet, so got some work to do, but I think it will be quicker than the Bentley would have been, and it seems to suit my driving style probably a bit more than perhaps the BMW, which I've used a bit in the past before as well. So looking forward to it.
Cool. Good luck for next week. And Damo, your thoughts on Kyle Army?
Well, as you may know, I've mentioned it before. I don't get an awful lot of practice time. I don't think I've raced on it in 12 months. So I've been very lucky in that I've been getting setup advice from the person I was racing earlier, which is very helpful and I'm very appreciative of, because it's very difficult, and that's the only reason I was competitive in the second race there. So, Dom, yeah, if you got any setups going next week, mate.
Yeah, no
I'm
problem.
gratefully received. But I'm looking forward to it, yeah, and it's the battles. To be honest, I'm not too bothered about podiums and whatnot, because I don't think my pace is quite there. But, good, clean racing. The season started off really well. Really pleased. I'm really enjoying the racing, and long may that continue.
Also, that's really good to hear. So, Adam, I mean, you briefly sort of mentioned that the car would come, the tracks are coming back towards your car. Sorry if I've worded that correctly. For the next couple now. So, are we hoping podiums now for the next couple of races, particularly at Kailami?
Yeah, that's the plan. I was always adamant that the first two races were going to be like damage limitation, but now we're coming into the short, nippy tracks with no long straights, so I can't get dragged out. So yeah, Kailami is going to be good for me. Fingers crossed it is, at least.
Yeah. Is it another new track for you, Rich, and a lot of learning to do for the next 7 days?
A little bit, but I'm going on my holidays, so I'm not here for next week.
Oh, well.
Gonna have to get myself a ringer in to drive the Ferrari for a week. Adam, what are you up to next week?
I can't drive that car. I can't drive the Ferrari that well anymore.
Oh no, so I'm not here next week. So I will be watching from afar.
But enjoy your holidays regardless, and
thank you.
We'll see you back for Mazzano, I assume, then a week later, is it?
Yes, you shout.
There we are.
I'll be back.
But all good. I don't know if my co-coms have got any points or questions before we wrap this up.
No, you covered it all, Mike.
I have one. If any driver can answer it. We spoke at the beginning of the night, myself, Mike, and Luke, about tyre temps being critical with the track being red hot. I was just wondering if the time of day was affecting the tyre temps and how well the tyres lasted. I was thinking maybe I know race 2 shorter, but maybe slightly cooler conditions, tyres working a bit better, probably able to push more. Just wanted to pick your brains on how it went down tonight from a tyre perspective.
Yeah, race 2 was actually the hottest race we had. Race 1 was about 25 track, and then qualifying 2 was 42 track temperature, and then race 2 was 33, 34. But yeah, second race I was running around with slightly orange tyres because it was just overheating. You can't open the brake ducts because then your brakes stop working as they should. But that's the Porsche. The rear tyres were really bad towards the end.
Yeah, we were thinking that obviously we were seeing some guys fall off. We thought on stream anyway that maybe Ash had tyre problems and that's why he dropped off the pace a bit. But yeah, I mean, fair play, guys. It won't have been easy tonight managing those tyres. So it was on my mind certainly anyway through most of the race.
Well, there we go. And thank you, as always, for your insight, guys. It really does make a huge difference being able to understand it from your point of view as drivers, and it makes a big difference to us. So thank you for joining us, as always, and we will see you for Kailami next week. And thanks to all of you at home who have been watching, and we will see you then.